Okay, here we are at match-wizard.interzoid.com, and we're going to do some data matching. In this specific example, we're going to look at a CSV file and identify records where the names are very similar and the addresses are very similar, which is a pretty good indication that it's probably the same person. And we'll show that in just a second. But just wanted to point out that we use different algorithms based on company names, individual names, or street addresses. And it goes way beyond fuzzy matching and string comparisons and so forth. And so when we actually analyze a data set or a data file, once you indicate which field is which you'll see in a second, the correct matching algorithm will be applied and we'll be able to identify those duplicate records. So we'll show how that works. The first thing that you'll need is an API key if you actually want to run this. This is how we track your usage. You can get some free trial credits at interzoid.com, and that's what's up here. And of course you can check your credit balance at any time. But let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing you need to do is select the actual matching function that you want to perform. So you can do a company name matching only, for example. You can match on street addresses only, and also combinations of these different data types. So in this case, we're going to look at address and full name combination matching, meaning we're looking specifically for records where the address is similar and the full name is similar. So I click on that. Then we click Next. And the first thing we must do from this point is choose the local file, the CSV file that we want to analyze. So we have a file here. It's just a simple CSV file for demonstration purposes. And you can see that the first column is an individual's name. The second column between the commas is an address. And then, of course, a dollar amount, which could represent a sale or anything. And just because this is a simple example, we're using names like Jim and James and so forth. Of course, these algorithms contain libraries of tens of thousands of sets of nicknames and so forth, including plenty of international names from all over the world. And so it will work with just about any name or any data set of names and addresses that you could find. But just want to kind of show you what the file looks like. And so we'll go here, and then we'll actually select the file. And we'll click here. And that name of that file was customers. So I'll click OK. And it'll open it. And then you'll see that it'll give you a preview of the first 5 rows. So you can confirm that you have the right file and it is indeed readable. And you can see the data here in the different columns that we were just showing. Then I'll simply click Next. And then here you must define which column is the address column that you're going to match on, or which is the full name column. So in this case, I'm going to choose column 2, as this is the address column, and then column 1 is the full name column. And then, column 3 will show up in our matching report. But for now, we will show only the matching records, so it will cluster together the records that are similar. And we'll also show the similarity keys. So you'll see this in just a second. The similarity key is essentially a string or a hash that's algorithmically generated to help us indicate which records are potentially the same because they generate the same similarity key. And because these are deterministic in nature, these similarity keys can be used to match data across multiple data sets, so you can get a much higher match rate. They don't need to just be in one data set, but of course in this example we're looking at one data set. And so now I will click Next, and it will give me a summary. So you can see the file name, the format, which is the address column, the full name column. We're going to show the similarity keys so you can see those, and then matches only. Otherwise, we would just get the similarity key for all the records that we might want to be using, in some other way. So we have that option. And of course, it's the underlying API that generates these similarity keys. So if you want to integrate those in your own way in some custom use case, you can do so simply by clicking on API products. You can see all the various APIs that do this work behind the scenes. But here we call them in parallel and for high performance. And so now all we simply need to do is run the match. So I'll click here. And once I've done that, pretty quickly, you can see the names. The records come up where the name is similar, James and Jim Kelly, different spellings for Kelly. In the addresses, in one case, it's street spelled out, street in the other. And so, for example, if this were the same customer, you could then aggregate the various sales, 50, 50, and 100, by the matching similarity key. Or this data could be matched with other data sets. And if you look back at the original file, you can see here that the James Kelly at 500 Oak Drive did not match because the addresses were different. And of course, the Sally Andersons matched at 2500 Broadway Avenue, even though some of the spellings there were different as well. So just wanted to point out here that we can cluster these records, and again, I could go back and run it again. We won't show the similarity keys in the output. I'll click next. We'll run it again. And then you'll see we can get the same data if you don't want those similarity keys to appear in a report, for example. Again, we can save these results, and then we can load up this data in Excel or Google Docs or spreadsheets or any other type of analytical tool you might want to use to be able to identify which of these records are the same and help overcome these challenges of different nicknames and address variations and various other data inconsistencies. If you have any questions on how this might be relevant for a use case of your own, you can contact us at support@interzoid.com. Otherwise, you can go to Interzoid and get a trial key and try some of this against your own data. And then, of course, if you have larger data sets you want to work with, you can get a subscription to the Interzoid various APIs. One API key works with every single API that we have that do all kinds of data quality, data standardization, data matching, data enrichment, a complete AI-powered cloud-based platform. Hope you come and visit us. Again, if you have any questions, contact us at support@interzoid.com. Thank you.